Do you know JJS?
I'm sorry?
JJS in Bahasa Indonesia.
Okay.
Jalan-jalan song.
Okay.
My favorite food in Indonesia is nasi goreng. Yeah,
Wow.
I really love nasi goreng so much because it is so.
Hello everyone, welcome to Economics Faculty English Club podcast with me, Wikel Nofiantoro, as your host for today's episode. Today we have such a great and interesting topic. We will explore the experiences of living abroad, embracing challenges and navigating the new cultures with the theme From Home to Abroad, Adapting to New Cultures and Building Emotional Strength. As we know, nowadays we can easily go into everywhere we want. We can move to many countries and find out a plenty of exciting adventures. But besides that, it also comes with its own challenges, including cultures and emotional strength. So today we will discuss how to adapt to the new cultures and build emotional resilience needed to thrive in a foreign environment with our amazing and special guest for today. Here is Okunaga Faruq Adeola, an accounting student of Universitas Islam Riau who came from Nigeria to share his experiences and insight with us today. Hello Faruq.
Hello.
Yeah, it's so nice to meet you today. So how are you doing today?
I am great today. I am really great today.
Wow, thank you so much for coming today, and I'm so glad and so excited you could join us on our podcast in this episode. And yeah, I'm glad to hear that you are doing good today. And how are you feeling about being on the podcast today?
I am really happy for Onwe to invite me to the podcast. I am really happy and I am really great to be on the podcast today.
Okay, so this is your first time being on a podcast?
This is my first time being on a podcast in another university.
Wow, that's such as interesting, yeah? Yeah, maybe can you tell us what are you currently busy with? Like, what are you doing currently?
I'm actually trying to be fluent in Bahasa Indonesia. Still learning also because my Bahasa Indonesia is a little bit,
yeah.
a little bit, yeah. So, and I'm trying to be, to meet new people. My education standard, I want it to be great, and I want my GPA to be great also. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. So I heard that you take accounting major, accounting education major in Universitas Islam Riau as your major. Yeah. Do you find accounting to be an interesting field to study or what?
Yeah, accounting is a very suitable course to study, but with the money and everything calculating, it is very interesting because in my PODS, my major, it is basically about being a teacher and being an accountant. So it's between the both. Yeah, it's really great being an accountant.
Yeah. So accounting is your passion, right?
Yeah, accounting is my passion.
Yeah. Do you enjoy your college life here?
I really enjoyed my college life here, meeting new people, new friends, learning language, and new culture shock also.
Wow. And what are you doing for daily activities in Indonesia?
My daily activities in Indonesia is waking up, praying, because I'm a Muslim.
Oh.
After that, going to class. After class, maybe hang out with friends, maybe in a coffee shop, or yeah. After that, just go home and learn. So I have to learn alone on YouTube because basically the teachings, maybe if I don't understand, so I have to go on YouTube and learn myself so I can learn about it also. Yeah.
Wow. And my question is, did you grow up in Nigeria, and when did you come to Indonesia for the very first time?
I grew up in Nigeria as a child in Lagos, Nigeria. I came to Indonesia, I think around last year, November 23. I came to Indonesia, November 23 last year.
Yeah. I know moving to a new country is not an easy thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is not easy.
So can you share your initial feelings when you first moved to Indonesia? Like, what do you feel about being in Indonesia?
The first time I came to Indonesia, I was a little bit nervous. Oh, I'm going to meet new people, new language, yeah, culture shock and everything. But when I got to Indonesia and I met a lot of good people, like really, really good people. So yeah, I just feel, oh, I'm still at home.
Wow. So it's quite challenging, but you can overcome it, yeah?
Yeah, I can overcome it.
Yeah. Can you tell us what inspired you to study in Indonesia? Like, do you have anybody here, like your friends, your family, or somebody else, and perhaps they become your reason to come here?
I don't have any friends or family in Indonesia, but I have an uncle in Malaysia.
Wow.
He's a teacher in Malaysia, so he's basically the one who introduced UIR to me, because UIR, Universitas Islam Riau, is a very famous university internationally. So he introduced UIR to me, and I applied and I got it. So, but in UIR, we have a lot of international students from different countries. So for my country, I have around 5. We are around 5 students from Nigeria. So I am among, but we are from different states. Basically, in Indonesia, you call it province.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are from different states. So I get to meet them in Indonesia, and we get to be friends also because we are from the same countries.
So you're not the only Nigerian in UIR, right?
I'm not the only Nigerian.
Okay. Yeah. Can you tell us what was the journey like when you first arrived in Indonesia? Like the first step you in Indonesia?
When I first came to Indonesia, I actually have a transit in Jakarta. So I have to wait for maybe around 5 hours for my next flight to Pekanbaru. So around that time, I want to get something to eat and everything, and I went to a shop. I went to like a supermarket. I speak in English. Oh, I want to get this, and she was like, "Oh, I don't really understand." So I have to use a translator to translate to her that, "Oh, I want to buy this, and that." That was the first time I get to know that, oh, not everyone speaking English.
I can imagine the culture shock must have been intense.
Yeah, it's really intense.
Yeah. What were some of the biggest cultural differences you felt? Like culture shock or surprising cultural differences you noticed when you first settled in Indonesia?
The first thing is the people, because it is way different from my country, the people. The second one is the language. Bahasa Indonesian, Bahasa English, because English is my first language. And the third one is the food. Basically, like in Indonesia, Indonesians love spicy food. Nigeria also loves spicy food, but the way of preparing it is way different. And my favorite food in Indonesia is nasi goreng. Yeah, I really love nasi goreng so much because it is so good, and it's kind of looks like a food in my country. It's so good. Yeah, nasi goreng is so good.
So your favorite Indonesian food is nasi goreng, right?
Yeah, I really love nasi goreng.
And any
so
other
much.
Indonesian food you like? Like you have you ever tried soto ayam?
I have tried soto ayam and everything, but nasi goreng is still my best.
Okay, okay, interesting. Yeah. What did you do to adapt with those cultures and the new environment? Like when you're facing like biggest cultural differences and culture shock, how you adapt to those cultures shock?
The first thing I have to do is like I have to be how can I say this? I have to meet new friends. I have to meet new good friends so I can learn the culture, and I can also learn some Indonesian's local language like Bahasa Ucu, Bahasa Minang. Yeah, I have learned a little bit of Bahasa Ucu from my friends and everything. So for me to be able to adapt to the culture, the language and everything, I have to make new friends so they can teach, and I have to make new friends and communicate really good.
Yeah. So friends is like the main what we call it, the main the main platform for you to learn about Indonesia.
Learn about Indonesia.
Interesting. Can you speak in Indonesia? In bahasa?
Sedikit.
Yeah. Can you say something to us in bahasa Indonesia?
I can introduce myself. Okay.
Okay, go on.
Perkenalkan. Nama saya Okunuga Faruq Adiola. Saya dari Nigeria. Saya mahasiswa Universitas Islam Riau. Prodi Pendidikan Akuntansi semester 3.
Wow, that's great. As the native speaker for English, you speak Indonesian so
fluently.
Yeah,
because
like sounds fluent.
Yeah, because I've been in Indonesia for around 10 months.
Wow.
And there is also a BIPA class for international students because I'm not the only international student. We have maybe around almost like 6 countries.
Yeah.
Cambodians, Thailand, Jordan, Malaysia, Uganda. Yeah, a lot of countries in UE.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, maybe you can describe a challenging situation, like specific challenging situation when you face while adapting to a new culture and how you overcame it. Maybe you have some experience when you're facing difficulties in adapting to the cultures in Indonesia, and can you tell us about that, how you overcome it?
Yeah, the first thing is the language. For me to buy maybe a drink, or maybe if I am hungry, if I want to buy a food, so I have to use a translator. So I have to go with my phone every time. I have to use a translator. And sometimes the translator is like, it's going to cause a misunderstanding between me and the seller. So it's like so difficult. Sometimes I have to call my friends who can't speak in English. So I have to explain to them so they can explain to the buyer also. So for me to overcome it, so I have to communicate. It's not by just learning Bahasa Indonesia or maybe by writing Bahasa Indonesia. I have to communicate with an Indonesian so I can be fluent, so I can have the accent also. I have to communicate with my friends in Bahasa Indonesia. Sometimes I'll be like, I don't want to speak in English. I want to speak in Bahasa Indonesia only today. So I have to communicate with them. But sometimes they make fun of me because my accent is different. And
I get it.
The way I speak it is kind of, they'll be like, funny, just laughing and everything. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. You can try as much as you can. So you can go out without your phone and without your friend to accompany you. Because you have to communicate with them, and you must have a translator for you. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Adapting to a new culture is definitely requires a lot of emotional strength. Yeah. And how did you cope with feelings of homesickness? And what strategies did you use to maintain your emotional well-being while you being homesick?
Homesick.
Yeah.
The first thing I have to do is call my mom.
Okay.
Or I should call my dad. So after calling them, like they will give me a motivation. Oh, you have to be serious with your education. You know, you are the only one there. There is no friends or family. They have to motivate me to be serious with my education and everything. Yeah.
So you have to communicate with your parents.
I have to communicate with my parents. Sometimes with my friends, because sometimes I really miss my friends and everything. Because in Indonesia, you have to make new friends. In my country, I already have a lot of friends, childhood friends and everything. Yeah.
So did you finish your high school in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the age of 16. But I can't travel at the age of 16 alone, so I have to become 18 before traveling from Nigeria to another country alone.
Yeah. What are some self-practices or self-care practices that help you to build emotional strength during your transition or adaptation? Maybe you have some therapy or some method to help you build your emotional strength during your difficulties in transition or adaptation in Indonesia.
Yeah, there are some. The first thing is I have to listen to music. Just word music. Yeah,
Okay.
just word. Like, it's so cool and everything. The second one is do you know JJS?
I'm sorry?
JJS in Bahasa Indonesia.
Okay.
Jalan-jalan sore.
Okay. Jalan-jalan sore. Yeah.
So I sometimes every day jalan-jalan sore around the campus.
Yeah.
So I can release some stress. And sometimes I also play football.
Oh.
Football for UE.
Okay, that's interesting.
So interesting.
Can I know your hobbies or what you like to do when you have free time?
When I have free times, I like watching TikTok.
Watching
firstly.
TikTok, okay.
Watching movies. JJS, playing football.
Okay.
Or make new friends around the campus.
And I heard you ever work as carpenter. Yeah. Could you tell us about how is it?
Yeah,
being carpenter.
Being a carpenter, I basically start at the age of 14. I started being a carpenter at the age of 14 with my father because my father is the owner of the workshop. So I work with him and also school. After school, I have to go for lesson. After lesson, I have to go for the work, and during the night, Arabic school. At the age of 14, 15, 16. 16, I graduated from high school, SM in Indonesia. I graduated from high school. So for 2 years, I have to like learn fully, day and night, day and night. There is no holiday, no nothing. Monday to Sunday, Monday to Sunday, no holiday. So I have to practice. And I also graduated from being a carpenter.
That's so cool of you.
Yeah,
because carpenter sounds so new for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's so difficult to become a carpenter at this age. It's so difficult, but it's because I learned from a very young age, because I don't really have anything else to do than just playing and hanging out with friends. So with the time, I used it to learn being a carpenter, and it's really good for me because I already acquired this skill. I already know everything about being a carpenter, and it is really going to be useful for me in the future, inshallah.
That's so cool for you.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Maybe this is my last questions, perhaps. How do you maintain a balance between embracing the new culture and staying connected to your own culture's root? Because we know that Indonesian and Nigeria cultures is so different.
So different.
So how you maintain to balance between embracing the new culture, also staying with your own cultures from Nigeria?
For me, normally, because I can't really eat a lot of Indonesian food, so I cook. Sometimes I cook my Nigerian food. I even have my Nigerian attire, like the dress code here in Indonesia. Maybe there was a time we have a cultural performance for each countries. So I have to put on the attire and embrace my culture and everything. And I also eat my food also. So it's not really difficult for me to lose my culture and everything. And I have to learn about Indonesian culture also. I also have the batik.
Okay.
The Indonesian batik also. And I also tried Indonesian food day by day. Because my friends always say, oh, you should try this. It's really good. Like nasi padang.
Okay, nasi padang.
Yeah, you should try this. You should not eat only nasi goreng. You should eat nasi padang also. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, I will try it sometimes. Or nasi, soto ayam, and seblak.
Okay, seblak.
Yeah, because
that's my favorite food.
Seblak, they said it's so spicy because I also like spicy food also. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to taste your
Nigerian food.
Yeah, Nigerian food. Like, can you tell me about one Nigerian food that you ever cook in Indonesia?
In Indonesia,
yeah.
I've tried to cook a lot of Nigerian food because I'm not really a good cooker. Moi moi.
Moi moi?
Yeah,
what is it?
It went so bad because I am not really good at cooking it, and I want to make fufu also.
Okay.
But it later turned out to be starch. It is not fufu. It's turned out to be starch. And I tried to cook jollof rice also. Oh my God, it went so bad.
That's okay, that's okay.
Like, sometimes I have to call my parents. Oh, what should I do next? What should I put inside and everything? Yeah, so they have to direct me. Yeah, and I'm getting good at it.
Cool. That's so cool. I love that perspective. And now that you have been here for a while, what culture or positive takeaways have you gained from your experience in Indonesia? And how do you think this experience has shaped you personally? Like, have you ever seen like a culture or event in Indonesia that has so much culture in Indonesia? Like, what culture and what positive things that you have gained for your experience in Indonesia?
In Indonesia, most Indonesians always ask, "Sudah makan?"
Sudah makan, okay.
Have you eaten? Have you eaten? But in my country, no one.
They never ask you before.
They will not ask, "Oh, sudah makan?" or "Have you eaten?" No, there is nothing like that. Even strangers, if they just greet a hello, sudah makan, it will be the next question, and I'll be like, yeah, sudah. Why? Because it is different from my country. And the second thing is mau kemana? Where are you going? Where are you going? I'll be like, why do you want to know where I'm going? Because in my country, They won't ask where are you going, just hi, hello, and bye.
Okay.
Yeah. But in Indonesia, they'll be like, sudah makan, mau kemana, and everything, and asking questions also. Yeah.
So do you think it's a positive thing or like a negative thing for you?
The first time I came to Indonesia, I thought it is a negative thing, but after being in Indonesia for a while, I get that, it's just a normal way of Indonesians, because Indonesians are nice and everything.
Yeah. Just a simple thing that that you've been so shocked, yeah?
Yeah, but in my country, I'll be like, why will you ask where am I going? Do you want to kidnap me?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's in Indonesian, when you ask someone, have you eaten or where are you going? It's like, have you ever heard about basa basi in Indonesia?
No.
It's like just yapping or just like asking people, but in a nice way. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
being polite.
Yeah, being polite to people, especially when you know people passing across you or something like that. You have to ask them like, "Hi, where are you going?" or "Have you eaten?" It's like kind of being a polite to people. Yeah, especially if you know the people. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so interesting.
Yeah. What advice, like, or suggestion would you give to someone who is about to move to a new country for study or living abroad and feeling anxious about the change? Like you have been in that phase. Like, what advice you would give to the people who want to move to the new country?
The actual advice I can give is that you must be strong, because from Indonesia to Nigeria is around with the transit and everything is around 3 days from Nigeria. Because when I want to come to Nigeria, in Nigeria I have to go from a state to a state, just like Pekanbaru to Jakarta, from Lagos to Kano, from Kano to Saudi Arabia, from Saudi Arabia to Jakarta, Jakarta to Pekanbaru. It's a really long journey.
Yeah.
Like a really long
I feel that.
So, like, you can't just easily say, I want to go to my country for holiday or something like that. And it's really expensive. So, you have to embrace the new culture, and you have to make new friends. Like, you have to make new friends because it's like you are so far from home. You are so far from home. You have to learn new culture, and you have to be nice with the people there, and you have to learn the rules of the country. You have to learn everything about the countries, the do and don'ts of the country. And if you want to live abroad, I will say it again, you have to be strong.
Okay.
Like, you have to be really strong, because for me, as being a boy also, sometimes I'll just be sad that, I am far from home. It will be a long time before I see my parents again, and friends and siblings also, because I also have siblings. I have 5 siblings. All are boys. Boys, there is no girls. 5 siblings. So sometimes I will miss them. I will miss my parents, my friends, and everything. And sometimes I'll just be like, I'm studying. Because if I'm in Nigeria also, I will have to move from a state to another state to study. But I am moving from a country to a country to study. Yeah.
That's truly inspiring. Yeah. You have to be strong.
You have to be strong.
You have to learn and make friends.
You have to make friends.
As much as you can.
As much as you can.
And you have to embrace your own cultures, of course. Yeah, maybe do you have something to say to your parents or your family in Nigeria?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving me the motivation and for giving me the opportunity to study in Indonesia. Yeah, basically studying abroad. That's
truly inspiring. I hope your parents can see this podcast later, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's amazing to hear how you have turned challenges into opportunities for growth. And thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. I'm sure our listeners today have learned a lot about how is adapting to the new cultures and building emotional strength, especially as a student. Yeah, before we wrap up, do you have something to say for our listeners? Maybe like a closing statement of today's podcast from you.
I want to say to everyone watching this, what can I say? How can I say this? Thank you very much for having me on this podcast. I am really grateful for everyone and all the team pertaining this podcast and everything. I want to say thank you very much. And for everyone watching also, you all should keep watching Economics Faculty English Club. It is really a great club also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's beautifully said. Well, that brings us to the end of today's insightful episode on adapting to the new cultures and building emotional strength. I want to extend a huge thank you to our guest today, Okunuga Faruq Adeola, for sharing his incredible journey of moving from Nigeria to Indonesia and all the lessons learned along the way. Faruq, it's been such a pleasure hearing your story and learning from your experiences today.
Thank you very much.
Once again, thank you very much, and thank you to all our listeners for tuning in to EFEC podcast today. For those of you tuning in, remember that adapting to a new culture isn't always easy, but it's also an opportunity for growth, learning, and adapting. It's a process of discovery, not just about the world, but also about ourselves. So this is the end of our episode for today. Thank you to all of our listeners for being with us today. I hope you found this episode as inspiring as I did. And don't forget to leave comments, like, and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and stay connected. I'm Wikel Nofiantoro. I'm signing off. See you next time and goodbye.
Que deve ser de Marte, ou talvez só não está inteira.